Good, good, good. I know you came from one call to another, so thank you for taking time out of your super busy schedule and joining us on our More Momentum call. Very cool.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
So most of you that are probably on this call for a reason, because you can't wait to hear from Rene, because we all need to know how to be better influencers, better communicators, how to communicate what you really want, what you need, what they need. And there's so many idiosyncrasies, and there's no one better than Rene to do that. In fact, Gino and I personally went to his class, 3-day class that got in depth with how to communicate better, how to look you in the eye, how to frame what you're trying to accomplish so you actually can accomplish what your needs are and what their needs are. And Rene did a great job of that. In fact, Rene, you made me cry at the event. You make everybody cry, I swear. I told Gina after day one, and I'm a tough dude and always in the limelight, but I have to say, I'm like, I don't know if I want to go back tomorrow. It was good.
It was a meaningful moment. It was a meaningful moment.
It was. And a perfect example of, where I do a lot of the setup and tee up, and Gino's really good at winging it. You were really good about taking him from blah, 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 literally. I mean, he's great at speaking, but it was really cool is at the end of it, you asked the group, and I'm teeing this up for you, gang, about why you want to listen to Rene, because we tend to do this. If you're in sales, you want to sell. And Gino likes to sell, and he did it to the whole group. And if you were to listen to him, it sounded amazing, except Rene asked one important question. What did he talk about? And no one knew. No one knew what he was talking about, except that it was fun listening to him, but we don't know what his point was. And by the end of the class, Gino nailed it. He basically, Rene brought him in, tightened him up, and then he actually, on the final day, kicked my ass and mic dropped, because he really paid attention. So my point is today, really pay attention to what Rene is saying, because it could change right now, capture ratio is everything. We know there's not enough business. So what business potential is out there, you better be able to grab it. And the only way to do that is how you communicate with the person and build confidence in your abilities. Am I right, Rene?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, especially now more than ever.
Right. So Rene's been a 3-time Momentum Builder speaker. He's a good friend. He's an author. He's a keynote speaker. He runs his own events. And he gave time today to be part of More Momentum because he's a giver. And I want to make sure that you guys get engaged. Listen to Rene. Engage on the chat, please. Engage in the reactions. Let's make this interactive, because this is for you, not for me. I know Rene. I listen to Rene on a regular basis. I get your emails all the time. So without further ado, Rene, I'd love for you to kind of help us rock and roll in this challenging environment, because you know our industry. You've been in it for over 20 years. That we met over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And all you do is polish your craft. And that's something I'm sure you'll talk about too, is that point of always getting better. So Rene, thanks for joining us today, buddy.
Thanks for having me. I think, some of the things that you brought up here, I think are important. And I want to try to back up and give a little perspective of what's happening. I'm going to ask everybody here to make one really critical decision and to decipher who you want to be going forward. I think there's only 2 ways to play in a market like this. To be somebody who's made by the market, meaning interest rates go down and your business goes up. If you're at all rate driven, meaning if your business is affected by the market, that means you're made by the market. So if you had a great last couple of years, I would say, so what? So did everyone. So now, there are people right now having their best years. Not many, but there are some. But why are they having a best year? I want to know that. It's because they make markets. They're not made by them. They make it. And that's at the core of what it means to be a true sales professional. And if you're frustrated with me saying, so what, everyone else did, that's okay. I want you to dive into that frustration, because there might be a sense of truth behind that, to say, okay, and understand where I'm coming from. I'm trying to help you to be recession proof, market proof. And I know that that's going to require us to think differently. We're going to have to do things differently. And that's not to say that the market won't affect you, but will it make or break you? And that's really what I'm referring to. And what my goal is to help you start thinking along the lines And just the mentality and the mindset around saying, I need to be a market maker. That means I need to uncover opportunity where other people aren't. Because right now there's two ways to play. One is to be an order taker, which would be, I define as somebody who facilitates transactions that would have happened anyways. Well, in that environment, order taking skill sets or order takers do not do well in markets like this, because not many people are ready to take on a transaction. Or you act as a sales pro, and a sales pro uncovers, they create sales. Create is the key word, sales, by uncovering another keyword, hidden value, unseen value. And that the only way to do that is through presentation. It's the only way. That is the X factor. That is the deciding factor, because someone has to be there to say, this is how you used to look at it. Here's another way to look at it. That's a short form of saying presentation, to communicate some level of value that isn't immediately seen. I cut my teeth both in presentation and in selling with markets that didn't want to hear me speak, and with people that didn't want to buy what I was selling. I had to learn how to make the market. And that required me to follow a strict sales process and to be really good at presentation. And what I came to learn was that the happiest clients I ever worked with, the ones that had the longest relationships, are the ones that had the least amount of interest in working with me. They were the ones that said, I have zero interest in buying X from you or working with you. But by the end, they go, I can't believe I didn't see that before. Thank you, Rene, for helping me see that value. And guess what? They were willing to exchange dollars for that value, because the value far exceeded what I was asking for. And so I need you to kind of get that mindset. Do you want to be somebody? And let's put it in there. I want to see you grab your keyboards. Are you made by the market, or are you a market maker? At least what do you want to be? I want to see, grab your keyboards. I want to see some interaction here. We've got a bunch of people on here. Are you made by the market, or you want to make the market? Beautiful. I love it. Ryan, an MM, market maker. So we got 2 of you, 3 of you, 4 of you. All right, who else? Market maker, baby. I like that. So that begins our intention. And so then we got to ask ourselves, how do we do that? Well, first of all, you're going to have to go compete, right? You're going to have to compete, because there's other people that want your business, and competition is way higher than it used to be. It is way higher than it used to be. So that means that you better learn how to compete. Now, the good news is there's only 3 ways that you can compete in a marketplace. And this was written by Michael Porter. Thank you. Dr. Michael Porter out of Harvard. And when he wrote the book, he was the guy who invented the term competitive advantage. So all of us say, hey, we need a competitive advantage. You're quoting Michael Porter. In his book, it's about that thick. It was a second book written, but the first one was called Competitive Strategy. This was an even thicker book that really talked about the 5 market forces, and then within that, the only 3 ways that you can compete. And the first one is through being lowest cost provider. So you could go out there right now and say, well, I'm going to compete in this market by just slit my throat and lowering my price. Now, some of you are already doing that. I don't know how well that works. I don't think that's a smart strategy, because I think everyone loses in that strategy. Unless you're Walmart. Walmart's figured it out. But what are you sacrificing when you go to Walmart? I mean, there's a reason why there's a People of Walmart meme page. You're sacrificing an experience. You're sacrificing walking in and not getting any level of expertise. So if you know exactly what you're looking for and nothing else is open, and you're willing to walk through not as clean of a place, and maybe feel shady, or maybe have some people stare at you, or maybe just looking for some, interesting people watching, Walmart's going to work just fine for you. Now, I'm assuming that most of you don't want to be the Walmart of real estate and mortgage. So let's eliminate that one. And by the way, if you're lowering your price, you've already decided that's how you're competing. And that means that your value proposition is determined by what they can measure, which is your interest rate. So really, presentation doesn't matter. It's what you've always done. What's your interest? What's your interest? Well, we can get this rate. Well, they can get that rate. So let's make a decision to get away from that. Second is to focus niche. Some of you can do all sorts of mortgages, but you focus just on a VA loan. Bravo. I love that. I have massive respect for people who have the courage to say, I'm going to focus on one thing. I know people that focus on downtown condos and lofts. That's awesome. And they take over. When you have a niche focus, I knew a hair salon that focused only on curly hair. And so when we think about that, you're looking at how is it that you're going to compete in a focused manner. Lots of ways you can do a mortgage, lots of ways you can do a transaction, but what's your focus? And the last one is differentiation. This is where people make some of the biggest mistakes. Most people of the three will say, we want to be different. And then they'll go on stage and so talk about their marketing and their culture, and they talk about their technology. And you could just place any company brand on that, and they're all going to talk about the same thing. And so if I were to ask you, let's grab your keyboards one more time. This is going to be interactive. How would you describe what differentiation means? What's the definition of differentiation? What does that mean? And Mark, and even Don, if you want to say, what would you take a wild shot at what differentiation means? How would you describe it?
I would say your unique abilities versus someone else's. And
okay, I can do this. Watch this. I can blow bubbles with my tongue. That's a unique ability. Is that going to give me a loan?
No.
Not many people can do
Probably
that. So
not.
I've got a unique ability. Okay. Separating yourself, not being the same as everyone else. You stand out, not doing the same as others. And literally making shit up. How much value you bring. Tony, getting closer. So I'm going to take on this. I'm going to stand out, not be the same as everyone else. I'm going to separate myself. I'm going to come to work in a clown suit. I'm going to stand out. I'm definitely not the same as everyone else. Is that going to help me get another referral partner, get another loan?
Not many.
No, it's not going to get you anything. And so somebody, my realtors feel they make more money with me and make their life easier. So you're getting closer, Carlos. I think this is really good. Tony and Carlos are getting close. Here's the definition of differentiation, and I want you to write this down. It's the ability to sell your product or service without having to lower its price. That is the ultimate measure of differentiation. You can sell your product or service without having to lower its price. And why? Because there's no other choice. You are so different. You don't have to lower price. It's just you. And so that's why Apple does not ever go on sale, ever. I remember I went one year to go, I don't do Black Friday, but my son asked me to go one time, and I took him and I said, okay, we'll buy some Apple stuff because I got to buy Apple stuff anyways. And we went to Target and other places. They're like, guess what? The only product in the entire damn store on Black Friday that doesn't go on sale at midnight, Apple. Nothing. I think they gave us like $20 off an iPad. But then I looked at the $20 I was going to save, and I looked at the line that went around the entire store, and I said, my time, and I looked at my son, I go, you want to wait in that line? He said, no. I said, yeah, I'd pay you $20 just to not stand in that line. And we left and never went back. And so being different is the ability to sell your product or service without having to lower its price. So let's go back to what Carlos said. I want my realtors to feel like they make more money with me. So that's pretty hard to achieve. But if you can achieve that, guess what? They'll do that. They'll do business with you. And somebody says how much value you bring. You're getting close. So the market's going to determine what you do, and you got to figure out how you're different. But here's the thing. You guys are just pieces of chicken, and a piece of chicken with no story ends up on a $1 menu at KFC. But a piece of chicken with a story, I think any one of us here would pay $100 plus to eat it off a tasting menu because it has a story. It's in a nice restaurant. The chef comes out and tells us what it's like. But if there's no story, why would I pay extra money? Yeah, I like KFC too. But it's going to kill you, and you know that. And it's cheap. So if you want to be the KFC of mortgages, go for it. But you know what I'm saying. And so when we think about that, it's still just a piece of chicken. So what is the one thing that actually makes it different? It's your story. None of you here have a patent monopoly. You don't have any rights to something that's unique. Your interest rates are virtually the same as everyone else's. Your tech, it's kind of the same. And if you have something new, guess what? I'll just go out and buy the same one. So it's not a sustainable competitive advantage because I can write a check and get the other one. And so what is it that makes you unique? Well, it's you. It's your story. This is where influence comes into play. This is where our ability to tell our story is what makes the difference. And so you've got to be able to go out there and share what it is about you that is truly, truly unique. And what is it about you that truly makes you stand out? Because when that happens, now all of a sudden, you're not just a piece of chicken that goes on the KFC menu. You're part of a broader tasting menu. So that's where I would go with that, Don. And let's see where else we want to head with this.
Well, thanks, buddy. And I took a couple of notes and stuff. And please remember, this is interactive. You guys have questions or want more details on what Rene is getting at. But I love Rene is I know for our group, we run a large group of salespeople. I've been in the industry for 36 years now, and I've been through cycles. And what I love is that right now, what we're talking to our team, and two of them were, two of the people that, were involved in the conversation here, is that we're working really hard. And I think they can back me up on realizing that right now, even though it's difficult, this market's difficult. There's in our market and probably most markets, not much inventory, period. I don't care how hard you work or beat up your agents. They're going to tell you, I don't have anything to sell right now. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to become what you mentioned. I love it. A market maker versus an order taker. Order takers was 2021. You just handled the business as fast as it came in. Your ability to close it in a timely manner with good service is all you needed. Now you have to add in, like you said, more value without a doubt. So what we're seeing is right now, we feel now is a great opportunity. 2 years ago, if we wanted to expand the amount of referral partners we had, we couldn't do it. If you call them, they're all busy. I sold my listing in literally 2 seconds, or before it even came on MLS. I don't need help. I'm plenty busy. Or if we're calling it loan officers, you want a better home, I'm too busy. But what's nice is right now, the real estate community is challenged as much as we are. They're getting their butt kicked as well, but they're willing to listen if we have something of value, something that is going to help them build their business any way, shape, or form, whether it's through marketing their database, product knowledge, helping get the deals that might have fallen out in because they can't afford to lose any right now. You save a deal, that's huge for them because they might have gone from closing 12 a year to 4 a year. They can't afford to lose 25% of their business. So we're feeling that we have to get better at telling our story, and that we're actually excited about this market, and we're going after our market share of what's there. We're going to go after our market share. So I love your opinion on that, because you always have strategies regardless of where the market is, and I love that.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple things to look at there. One is the one that you had brought up, which was, you just said it now. Why did it leave me? Don, am I having a brain meltdown here?
It happens.
But this is
I threw a lot at you, so you probably had like.
Well, I went and I wanted to find a statistic, because really what we really need to do is, okay, so what do we have to sell to them, and what are we bringing to them? Well, we have to be able to sell news, and how do we turn news into leads? That's the biggest piece. But the other piece, this is where I was going, was this: we have to differentiate between two things that are happening right now. And I want everybody to really pay attention to this piece, because this is really critical. Right now, consumers and realtors and even loan officers are confusing two things. They're confusing a good time to buy with a good time to finance. Okay? Because buying and financing are very different activities. That's why it requires a real estate agent and a loan officer. So let's just cut them in half. Is it a good time to buy? Absolutely. Right now, and I'm looking at this right now. Here's a stat that I saw, and was that they looked at this was who did this. I think it was NAR did the study, but they looked at optimists, panelists that were they had panels of optimists and pessimists, and then they combined what the optimists and the pessimists were saying in terms of the experts, in terms of what would happen to cumulative housing values or appreciation by the year 2026. And what they found were that the pessimists on this panel, they said that by 2026, we're going to get accumulation of 23.7%. These are the pessimists. They combined all the panelists and they said it's 43.3%. But the optimists said it was 62.5% by 2026. So what does that mean? It means that no matter what, if you're all the way on the most negative side possible, you're still going to get a 23.7% return on your money or on the house. So name another investment that does that. So in terms of, is it a good time to buy? Yes, I can point to 100 other things. We look at the other reality. What's the average net worth of a homeowner? It's over $200,000. What is the average net worth of a renter? $6,200. Just that alone is enough to go with taking two pieces of news and being able to share that with renters and real estate agents. And so we say, okay, so we know that right now is a great time to buy. Now, it might not be the best time that you've ever seen to finance a home. And the only reason you're thinking that is because you had a level of contrast, which is what happened 2 years ago, which we were at 2 and 3%. But I hate to break it to you, that's gone right now. It's not around. I don't foresee it coming back anytime soon. And hanging on that and doing any comparison to that is like me saying, I'm not buying Apple or Tesla because I didn't buy it when it was $1. Well, guess what, Rene? Those prices are gone. And any effort in thinking and wishing and hoping that was back is a complete and utter waste of time. And so when we think about that, we say, okay, there are people making millions, if not billions, buying Tesla and Apple stock now, way more expensive than what it was before. Now, somebody might say, well, it's not as lucrative. It's not about whether it's as lucrative. It's about what opportunity is in front of you. That's the only question that matters. I can compare anything to what it was years ago. Of course, it used to be 50 cents to go to a movie. Well, let me wait for those times. Ain't happening. Okay, so do I care about the interest rate or do I care about the accumulation and the cost of that money to be able to get an appreciation? And so let's separate those two out and become experts at explaining that. And here's the best piece. If you get someone to buy right now, the worst case scenario is they buy and interest rates go up. That's the worst case, because you know what's going to happen? They go, wow, thank God I got in now. Best case scenario is you buy and you lock in your home at a good price and interest rates go down. People say, well, that's bad. I say, no, because guess what? Your loan officer is paid to call you back and go, I can make and save you money. And so you have an entire industry that's incentivized to ensure that you're at the lowest interest rate. So I'd much rather buy a home at a fair price at a little bit higher interest rate than to buy an overpriced home at a low interest rate. Think about it. You're not going to make money on the interest rate. You're going to make money on the appreciation. Keep your eyes on the ball. And guess what, folks? You all need to be the ones that are doing what I'm doing right now. I'm not even selling mortgages or real estate. But why can I make this case better than most people in your industry? It's called practice. It's called being in the mirror, recording yourself, seeking it out, following a process, and then being vigorous about the delivery of it. So, any questions on that? I think you're on mute, Don.
Yep. So that was a mic drop. I love listening to you, Rene.
We're saying we dropped the bomb.
You know, I follow you and I listen to all. I like that. I need that. I don't have the boom. I got to get that. It's just, you always bring calmness to a very challenging. I mean, everybody's scrambling right now, Rene. Let me know out there. Come on, respond on the chat how you're feeling. Are you feeling challenged? Is this good stuff? Is this making you feel a little better about scripting and how you can bring value and a different conversation? I know we feel pretty confident, as you're saying, Rene, with our team. That's what we try to do, because we don't just try to teach the consumer, but we're trying to also change the narrative for our real estate agents, because they're the ones who are in front. And if they're not confident in the value of purchasing a property right now versus waiting, we're very confident when they say, I'll just wait till rates go down. Oh, that's a great plan. Why don't you just do that along with everybody else? Because once the rates go down, everybody's going to the market, and then you're going to overpay for the home. You're not going to get the home of choice. And I go on and on about the challenges with that, versus now's a great time, like you said, Rene, great time to buy now, because you can have a choice of home. You have less competition. Get in now while you can. Do not worry about the rate. And when the rate, because appreciation, how much appreciation are you going to lose during that time? Right now, price is going up. I dare anybody to tell me, unless you're in a market that I'm not part of, that I don't know about, almost every market in the nation is going back up. There was a time it took a little dip when rates just blossom, but right now almost every market's going up, and it's going to continue to go up because we don't have supply. So bottom line, you could also show them, hey, okay, you waited a year until rates went down, but you also just lost $50,000, just giving an example, in equity. Let's see, the rate difference was $2,000, let's just say $1,500 a month in that year. It cost you 17, but you lost 35 grand last year. Oh, guess what? Rates came back down. We could refinance you. Plus your property taxes just went up. Let's go on. I mean, go on and on. When you have the dialogue and understand it, which is what I believe you're saying, Rene, you feel very confident in the conversations you have with your buyers,
Yes.
your sellers, and your agents, because the agents do not have this dialogue. When I ask them all the time, and Tony and all my gang that's on this call, they know I'll do that right in front of 30 agents. I'll go, what do you say when the client says, I'm going to wait till rates go down? Give me a response. And guess what response I get? I don't know what to say. I don't know how to rebut that. So you give them the tools on how to better educate them and create value. I love what you said right at the beginning, Rene, was it. Thank you, Rene, for showing me that value and the opportunity. Because if you don't say anything, you're not educating them. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents. What did Carolyn put here? You just put in simple terms. Yes, it's hard now, but if we do the things differently than we always have, we will get the results we want. We have to tell a different story than we always have. Absolutely. Right, Rene?
Well, you got to get ahead of the media, because the media is, if you're not telling the story, the media is happy to tell it for you. And here's the thing. If you aren't on social media every single day, if you aren't calling and being proactive with your real estate agents, if you aren't growing your personal brand, then you are actively deciding to let the media decide how the customer is going to feel. And then you have made your work way harder. You should be practicing every single day. Somebody asked me, Rene, how long does it take to create a speech? I said, well, it takes about 30 days to create 10 minutes. So if I want an hour talk, it's about 6 months worth of work to get it right. I go, well, I can do it in a couple hours. I'm like, great. I get paid $40,000 to do one. How much do you get paid for an hour? Okay. So what I'm talking about, it's 6 months worth of work for 1 hour. And so to create something great, to create something, and so your scripting should be the same. And I guarantee you, all of you can make more money than I make. Way more money. Mortgage money is way more than speaker money.
Mm-hmm. I can attest to that.
I know you can. And here's the thing, but most of you are sitting back and waiting for a couple deals here and there. Still making good money. 100 grand is great income. Not in mortgage though. It means you're suffering. You're not helping enough clients. So my point is, this isn't about, what's that?
I love that. You're not helping enough people. If you're not making more money, you're not helping enough people. So it's not just about the money. It's like, hey, you're not helping a bunch of people that you should be assisting. And that was a great statement. And can I add one more thing? Because you mentioned, how long it takes to, do a speech and the time. I love this. And it's important because right now I think we need to narrow down what our story is. Because if you're just, and I kind of teed this up, I framed it at the beginning, about blah, 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 just talking and not having a specific message. So for example, when they asked Winston Churchill how long, because he's one of the best orators ever, and they talk about how long does it take you to write a speech? And he goes, well, that depends on how much time I have. He goes, you ask me, you give me an hour, I can start right now. You give me 10 minutes, it's going to take me 3 weeks, because I have to be very precise. So what I'm getting at is right now, when somebody asks you or has questions or concerns, whether it's a real estate agent or borrower, be very precise at what your message is. Don't just talk, because you lose them at hello. Because after a while, they just get lost and they think you're just blah, blah, blah. But if you're very specific, then they will listen, because you have a value proposition, a message that is important, and you let them know that. You're really good about that, Rene. You're like, please hear me when I say this. Very calmly. You tee it up to like, this is important when I mention this to you, or when I share this with you, this is going to change your life. And these are real things that you have taught us how to do and how to get their attention. Am I heading the right direction?
Absolutely. And I mean, right, there's so many things that you're referring to right now in terms of how, one, you got to capture attention, but two, like, let's go back to this. It's the scripting's right in front of you. All the stuff that Don is talking about and Gino are bringing to you, this is all scripting opportunities. And somebody just said, Ryan, can you get the recording? Yeah, I'm almost positive you can. That's on
Always.
on Don. But go back and then transcribe those little phrases. that language that you can just, I call it golden language, that language that's just, you should have ready, available, bullet in the chamber with this stuff at all times to be ready to have those discussions. And, you know, yes, everybody is struggling right now. And then when I know everyone's struggling, then I know it's a game of grit and will. And that I can play. I can outlast somebody. If I know that you're tired and I'm tired, then I'm just going to pretend to not be tired. And I'm going to break your will.
It's true. Good point.
Yeah. And so there are a lot of people that aren't eating, that are there. What so we said, that aren't protecting their bowls. I said, then go eat out of someone else's bowl. And what I mean by that,
that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, they're being lazy. They're not protecting their clients. They're not calling their referral partners. So the bowl's open, the food's there, but they're not going after it. So, well, if you're not going to eat it, I will. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if they're not serving their customers, somebody else is waiting to serve them for you. And so we have to be able to look at all of these things, and we have to be able to say, okay, like, and Navy SEALs will tell you this. They go, when we are most scared, we know also that our enemy is just as scared. And the moment we remember that, we get calm, because we know how to deal with fear. They don't. So you have to be able to, can you deal with fear? Can you be rational? And here's the messed up part. A lot of this fear isn't even real. I mean, is data scary? No, it's just data. What you do with it and how you decide to interpret it is scary. I know some people that look at data and they freak out. Some people go, good. That's going to be the difference maker. And so what do you do with it? And if none of this makes sense to you, then I already know how you think. I can already tell you that the data scares you, the media scares you, you're not acting. But if you're allowing this to go, well, maybe I need to change how I look at it. Now you're in the game. Yes, it's scary. And I respect you for being in this game. But if you live by that fear, if you allow that fear to control you, I can already tell you the outcome. I'll save you the suspense. You're not going to make the money you want. You're not going to serve the customers you want. You're going to always question yourself going forward, whether this industry or not. You're going to be scared to death of what the media says or what the market says, because you're not in control. But if you can gain control of your business, which means get control of the sales activities you have on a daily basis, but get control of the most important tool you have, which is your mouth, your voice, and learn how to tell the stories and make up in numbers and activity what you lack in business. Make it up, meaning if you got to double your response. Here's the mathematics that we know. If I want one loan, that comes from 1.5 applications. If I want 1.5 applications, I need 2.5 presentations. If I want 2.5 presentations, I need to have 5 leads, because 50% of my leads will meet with me. And if I want 5 leads, I need to talk to 25 people, because for every 5 people I talk to, 1 person will become a lead, somebody who's expressed interest. So the conversion, it goes from sale to application to appointment, from leads to talk tos. Conversion ratios are 66%, 60%, 50%, and 20%. You should know these numbers. Now, the average loan amount is $3,000. Excuse me, the average commission is $3,000. And I know those conversion ratios. Then I know that every loan is worth $3,000. Every application is worth $2,000. Every meeting is worth $1,200. Every lead is worth $600, and every talk to is worth $120, because it takes 25 times 120 to create $3,000. If you're in real estate, double it. It's going to be $6,000 per loan, $4,000 per presentation, $2,400 for meeting, $1,200, for leads, and talk tos are $240. You should know these things. So, and if it's double, that means cut those numbers in half, or double the activities. Instead of talking to 25 to get 5, talk to 50 to get 5. You can talk to 50 people, like anybody here can. Instead of getting 5 people to get 1 lead, you're going to have to talk to 10 to get 1. But the best part is it's going to work out for you, because you're the one talking to the people, and you're going to find the ones that are going to work. But you've got to be able to outwork your fear. If the fear matters more than your family, if the fear matters more than your success, then you'll listen to the fear. But if your family matters more, if your income and your ability to serve your community matters more, your belief matters more, then you'll step right through it.
I love that. Can I challenge you on something, because you're kind of, I love you being on this, because right now the challenge is a lot of us. And again, type in chat who feels that you're working harder than ever for less money. Because I know back in 2021 you felt you were working your butt off, but you're okay with it because you made a boatload of money. But right now, I know, because like I said, I'm in the weeds with you. Just, you know, Gino and I are in the weeds every day. You can ask my team. We're leading with the flag. We're in it. We're going to get to the other side of this, and we've done it before. But as you can see, everybody feels that they're working harder than ever. So, Rene, if you could help, this would be probably something that would help myself, my team, and everything. Is that right now we're I look at conversion ratios, and we kind of talked about that a little bit later. Right now, you know, the conversion ratios used to be, if you taught, you know, 4 application or 4 potential buyers, you got 50% of them at least, you know, would go into escrow at some point. But right now it's down to like 15% on kind of a regular basis right now. I'm not saying some aren't higher, some aren't lower. I'm just saying in a destroy, we look at the numbers. We look at our company numbers and so forth, and we're really good at what we do, but the numbers are down. Even our office is lower than normal. So how can we, I think it would help income-wise, frustration-wise, fulfillment-wise, because part of the fulfillment is knowing you're getting something for your time. Can you give some scripts to help us capture better, not lose as many? So you bring in 10, God darn, I get to close 2. That's a lot of work. How do
Yeah.
I get better at retaining that client and really getting the buy-in to me? Because we lose some. They talk to somebody else because they heard a lower rate. That could have changed yesterday. Who knows? So how do we retain our clients and get them to take action better? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the thing. I want you to write down 5 things. There are 5 things that 5 reasons that people make a decision to work with you. In essence, 5 sales that you need to make before somebody buys from you. And they go in an order. The first one is you. Do they buy off on you? If they don't like you and they don't trust you, the rest of the 4 don't matter. So you better be likable. You better be trusted. This is where your brand comes into play. And so you should be focusing on your brand, or maybe a good referral partner. That's always a really good thing as well. And so if you got a good referral partner, they're going to help with that, like in that trust factor. How you dress, how you show up, being on time, listening, et cetera. It's all part of selling yourself. Second, you got to be able to sell your company. Your company is what makes and keeps your promises. And so that's what backs up all the value propositions that you have to offer. So you better be able to have a good story to tell about your company. Know your company's story and know it inside and out. The third, you better be able to identify the solution that you're bringing to the table. And whether it's, you know, and don't think it's just buying a home. That's not what it is. You're not selling that. You're selling memories. You're selling safety. You're selling net worth, equity, freedom. You're selling a sense of ownership, pride. All of those things you're selling, and just comfort, quality of life. I mean, go on and on. But that what you're selling in the solution is really going to be defined by the customer. So you better be good at listening, because they make decisions to buy based on their reasons, not yours. So making assumptions in this part of the game is not a good thing. Ask, assume nothing, ask everything. The fourth thing that they need to buy off on is the investment. Is it worth the money that you're asking, the risk and the time? Money, risk, and time are the 3 things that people look to invest in something. And so now, where most sales are lost is the last one. It's timing. Is now the time to buy? I like you, trust you. The company makes sense to me. Solution solves my problem, and it's worth the investment that you're asking me. But I'm going to wait out the market. That sense of timing is where you should be focusing the majority of your time and effort. If you're losing deals, you're probably losing it because somebody feels that it's okay to wait. And if they feel it's okay to wait, that means that you missed that sale. And you have to then now, and the reason I categorize it in those 5 is because that's how I know how to help you. If I know that they won't even take an application, that means your presentation sucks. If they won't even meet with you, that means your scripting or your lead source sucks. And if they take the application and they don't follow back, that means your follow-up is no good. Your aftercare is no good. So, but if you're there and they won't even take the application, or they're saying specifically, I want to wait out the market, that means that in your presentation, you have not covered the most important thing, which is why now is the time to buy. So part of what my script was before is, somebody said, do I have this written down? Just record it and send it up to Rev, and we can get it all done. The most important thing, you've got to be able to sell timing. And so there's a few things. One, the scripts that I gave you before about renters, right? That's one that's important. But two, here's another thing that I would do. Somebody wants to wait it out, right? So I would say, let's think about it from this perspective. So Don, let's pretend that you're that person. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Don, do you have any good memories, really fun memories of the house that you're in right now?
Oh, of course. Well, we had our kids, and playing baseball in the backyard and our pool. Yeah, I can go on and on.
So playing baseball in the backyard and the pool there. Tell me about that memory.
Well, I have to say, one of the smartest things we ever had is having a pool for the kids, because they always it entertains them all day long, and it's a great place where our family hangs out in the entire day, and I don't have to actually figure out how to entertain my kids. They entertain themselves, but yet we're all together. It's a great memory.
So Don, I don't have a pool, so I'd like to buy that memory from you. Would you sell it to me for $10,000?
No.
$100,000.
No, it's my memory.
$1 million.
Okay.
Okay, that means that I've got it and you no longer have it. That means you don't even remember you have it, and every good positive thing that came from that memory is gone. $1 million?
No, of course not.
No. Is there any amount of money that I could spend to buy that memory?
No, it's invaluable.
It's invaluable. And so, Don, what you're telling me here is that this home isn't about the home's price or the value. The home is about memories like that. And you just showed me one that was invaluable, that I couldn't buy from you for $1 million. Somebody needs to mute. We don't want this stuff in the scripting. Can we make sure that whoever that is, we mute them, because we don't want them in the scripting? Thank you. Self-awareness, guys. So going back to this, you wouldn't sell it to me for $1 million. Now, Don, this home that we're looking at has a little bit bigger pool, has the outdoor patio that you've always wanted, with the grill, so that not only can the kids be swimming, but you can be cooking, watching the game, and have room for your friends and family to play in the yard and play the football game in the backyard. It has the kitchen that your wife has always wanted. It has that walk-in closet that, man, you told me yourself makes you feel like $1 million. And you and I both know starting your day off feeling like $1 million has an ROI. And so, Don, you said you wanted to wait because the interest rate is a little bit higher for just a few $100. But yet, just one of the memories that I wanted from your current home, you wouldn't sell to me for $1 million. I'm going to ask you this, Don. Do you think you'll have some new memories in the new home?
Of course.
Yeah. And so what I'm going to ask you, Don, is to keep your eye on the ball. We've lost sight of the ball. This isn't about a little bit higher interest rate. This is about getting those memories that you'll never, ever, ever be able to sell, because you know they're priceless. So let's lock in this home, lock in the memories to come. And I promise you, I will let you know the moment interest rates drop and it makes sense for you. Trust me, I'm paid to do this for you. And the worst case scenario, Don, is that you got it in at the lowest price and the lowest interest rate, and it goes up from now, and you're going to thank me for getting in the home. And if it comes down, you're going to thank me for reducing your rate. So let's not mix the time to buy with the time to finance. It is the time to buy. It is time for those memories. And I will make sure that we are financing you at the most competitive rate.
Another mic drop, dude. That was awesome. All right, I want to see reactions from that. Do you think that would help any of you lock down a buyer? And if you could teach your real estate agent to talk like that, look at the reactions, dude. Now we're talking, dude. I mean, yes, I know all of you are like, please, yeah, show me the money. Seriously, that is invaluable, because what you did is you totally twisted the script. It became nothing about interest rate. It came nothing about price. It all came down to what their goals are. And you also painted the picture. I love the storytelling, and that's why we brought you on. when you talk like that, it's sincere, it's real. You're not trying to sell anything. You're just trying to help them.
I
And it was
believe it. I
apparent in the way you
wholeheartedly
talked.
believe it. Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that. And people say, "Wow, it's a really great script," but like, it's a philosophy, I think. And you should be studying this stuff to ask what your philosophy is so that you could regurgitate that in your own
Mhm.
way. You should be testing these ideas with people that know you and to say, what do you think? Here's what I think. And then just testing, test and test. And you get your reps in. All I'm doing is sharing my philosophy, period.
Okay. So hopefully you guys caught that pearl, and I know I did. And we all know this. We hear these things. We listen to, success books and so forth. But the key thing is when you believe it, they know it. Because I know when I talk about, I believe that it's a great time to buy right now, and I can go through the reasons. It's not a script. They can smell script. We all can smell script. Who here has felt that they know in an instant you're being sold? Give me a thumbs up if you've heard, yep, I'm being sold. There's no doubt about it. But did you feel that Rene was selling? Give me a heart if you thought Rene was just talking through his heart and just being sincere. Look at that. So great lesson, Rene, because right now it's challenging and it's our mindset. One of your best things that you have taught me, and everybody needs to listen to this right now during this market, because you mentioned it earlier, the media, remember, they're paid to sensationalize. They make up shit. They don't know what they're talking about. I just saw when the inflation went from, the inflation numbers went from 3% to 3.2, I saw the media stating that inflation went up 3.2% in July. I'm like, it did not go up 3.2% in 1 month. That's what it is year over year, but that's what the media does. So one of the things that you always tell us is control the narrative, because otherwise they make up their own narrative. They make up that it's a bad time to buy, or you think it's a bad market. I can't make money in this market. Control your narrative and you control your business. And when you work on your scripting, you can't wait to tell people your story, because you're helping them. I tell everybody, and I love them. I'm like, what do you think about the market, Don? I know you're in the industry. Is it a horrible time? Is the market a crash? I'm like, well, let me tell you about it. I really don't think. And I go into it and they're like, wow, I didn't see it that way. And I'm confident. One thing, when you know you're scripting, I'm saying your story, everybody hates the word script, but when you know your story and your message, then you're confident about it too. It doesn't come across as selling. And I know you're really good about that, because I guarantee you ever listen to you talk, Rene, and they're like, he's pretty confident about what he's saying. I don't want to miss what you popped in here, because we're getting close to the hour, and I want to make sure that you know about Rene as an author. And he's got a great event. He's a speaker at our events on a regular basis. He comes on our shows. We're doing an event with hundreds of real estate agents on September 25th. Rene, thank you, by the way, buddy. That's going to be freaking awesome.
That's going to be powerful.
He's got his own deal on October 26th. Great date, by the way.
It's your birthday.
My birthday, but I'm going to be there, buddy. You were so cute. You're like, I don't care. Just be there. Oh my God.
Well, we're going to sing you happy birthday from the stage, AmpCon. I mean, imagine this, singing from. Imagine all of us singing you happy birthday. I hope everybody does. I do got to run, man. I've got a doctor's appointment I'm getting to, but I hope everybody comes to AmpCon October 26th. I put the link in the bio. I'm also doing a free masterclass on September 12th. Click the link, sign up for that. And then Don's event and Gino's event that we're doing, a realtor event coming up as well. It's going to be fantastic. And so, yeah, we got our new website. There's a lot of really, really cool stuff happening. Interviewing. We got Jefferson Fisher, 2.5 million followers with just 240 posts. This guy's taken over the internet. To give you an idea, Ed Milet has 2.6 million followers with 2,000 posts. This guy's going to surpass him probably within the next week. He's going to be there. Neil Ford. We got Clinton Sparks is going to come and speak. He is a media mogul, video mogul, 80 million records sold with Jay-Z and Eminem. He's also the face of one of the hottest business magazines. I can't even announce that yet. So come AmpCon, the 26th, free masterclass on September 12th. And our realtor event, like all the stuff. Just get involved, because here's why. Surround yourself with this kind of stuff. Come see us in person in Dallas. Have these conversations in person and with a room full of people that are thinking the same way. That's what this is all about.
Nice.
So,
all right, everybody, hang on for a couple seconds. We got a couple of last minute things, but I'm going to let Rene rock and roll. Hey,
appreciate you
I want to
guys.
see, give him some love and some reactions here. What did you think of Rene? 59 of you guys on. Thank you very much, Rene. You killed it. Got a couple more house cleaning. You wanna know about
Appreciate
this
you
stuff.
all.
So thank you, Rene, buddy. So also we got a couple things. One, join the community. This is what it's all about. So okay, so Sonia's got these two coming up. We have some great. You got Steve Sims coming up next. This guy is awesome. He's an influencer in the industry. He hits you between the eyes. He'll be here next week. So be here with Steve Sims. And then we got our own Craig Davis is on this call. My buddy, one of my coaches, my mentors, who's helped Gene and I become much more successful. He's bringing on the great Dave Savage, my bro. Woo-hoo! And I know they're going to kill it on the 14th. Every week we're going to bring it for sure. Let's make sure you guys become part of the community. So download the Momentum Builder app. Right now, it doesn't cost you anything to be part of the community. We do have a membership that's going to add so much value coming up, which Craig is part of, Dave's part of, Barry's part of, and so many people are part of. Our whole goal is just to add value. That's it. So we become part of the Momentum Builder community. We have 780, I think, already in just a few months. So make sure you're a part of that. We got our Facebook page will be up soon. And then Momentum Builder. It's going to sell out. So we have an early bird right now. And you get a special discount code of DG 2024 to get an additional $100 off. Sign up today. Commit today. Don't wait. This is February 20th. I know you're like, oh, it's only in February. You wait, you might miss, because it's going to be intimate. It's not thousands of people. It's 500 of the best that are going to invest in themselves, be part of it. The networking is going to be off the hook. The best speakers, we always bring it there and give you key details on what really is needed in this market. Not a bunch of stories, not a bunch of fluff, just key information. Hot breakfast in the morning, and the end of the event networking party is where Usher throws his parties, and Adele and all them. It's gonna be off the hook. You're gonna want to not miss it. I'm telling you, it is going to be the best. Plus, you got Gino there, so you know it's going to be fun. So the discount code was DG 2024. DG 2024. There will be a recording on the app. Another reason to get the app, so you can see this. The recordings are good for a week, and then any of the platinum subscribers basically get it. All of the recordings. We got all 5 years of recordings, plus all the good stuff. Love you guys. Jimmy Ryan, thank you, buddy. Thank you for being part of our weekly Momentum Builder. We're going to add so much value. Got new stuff coming. And Jimmy's one of our hosts. And thank you for being part of Momentum Builder. Love you all. And together, we're going to get to the other side of this.